We literally got 2 seconds of zombies gameplay in the Black Ops 7 teaser trailer. But there is so much to unpack within these few seconds with details that you've missed, as we may very well be looking at a remade version of Tranzit. Furthermore, in this video, we're also going to dive into all the leaks and rumors about Black Ops 7 so far to see if it matches any of the 2 seconds of gameplay that we got and round up absolutely everything we know about zombies so far. If you weren't aware, yesterday I was literally at a wedding and I covered the Black Ops 7 teaser trailer and all the news whilst at the wedding venue in my full tuxedo. So slight apologies for being a little late on this one, but it did allow me to watch the trailer a few hundred times over to bring you the most detailed breakdown possible. As we break this down, let me know your thoughts in the comments on any thoughts, theories, and if you enjoy the video, please drop a thumbs up as I would really appreciate it. Let's just start from the very first frame of the zombies footage. We can see we have quite a few zombies that are stood dormant, and that is going to be very, very important in a little moment. Now, immediately there are 3 very interesting things to point out. The first and the most obvious is that we have a glowing light in the sky, which of course indicates that a mystery box location is nearby. If we look slightly to the left of that light, we can see a tear in the sky right above the zombie's head with the yellow glowing eyes, and this seems to be some sort of tear within the sky. That doesn't seem to just be a cool detail for the skybox, but actually it has a purpose to it that we don't quite understand. But it's very exciting because we know that every zombies map inside of Black Ops 7 will take place inside of the Dark Ether, so we're seeing a very unique skybox that could match what we saw with D Machina going into the Dark Ether, or something akin to the Dark Ether Nexus skybox that we see in the tomb. But arguably the biggest detail that we can see in this frame that tells us the location of where we are is this right next to that mystery box light, and this is specifically an old farm windmill. If I get a real life image to show you the comparison, it is 100% an old farm windmill. Like, there is no two ways about it, which confirms the location that we are seeing here is 100% a farm that is located within the Dark Ether. Now, of course, when we hear of farm and we also see the few moments later of 2 big headlights going towards zombies, it really only says one thing, and that is the transit bus driving past farm. That is very likely a scenario that we are seeing here, but we cannot say with 100% certainty that that is exactly what we're seeing because we just don't know. If we look at some very specific details in this, we can see that on the left side, we can see that there is a lot of overgrown plants and almost like tree-like stuff in the left, and there's also barbed wire along fencing to the left. Now, as this vehicle makes its way into the shot, you can see that there is almost a weird building shape that gets illuminated that was really hard to see before next to this old farm windmill, and it's so hard to point out because as the clip goes on, we can see the glare of the lights almost move what looks to be a reflection of a sign or windows reflecting on the building. The only real details we can tell from that building is the sort of spiky point on the top of it, which weirdly looks a little bit reminiscent of a Janus Tower that we got to see in the end teaser for the ending of the Shattered Veil Easter egg cutscene. But all signs point to this being the farm from Black Ops 2's Transit. However, there are a few big changes which make this a potential reimagining rather than it being a straight up remaster of it. Firstly, that detailing of the barbed wire. If we assume that this is where the bus rolls in front of farm, on the left side we have like sandbags and fencing rather than any barbed wire, which is really interesting. There also are a few sort of trees and other plants that are around, but not necessarily in the same spot. And we also don't have an old farm windmill whatsoever within the farm itself. But like I said, it is 100% a guarantee that what we're seeing here is a farm. And of course, we can connect the dots here, and it is very likely that this could be transit within the Dark Ether. And we also need to talk about the lights, what's coming towards the zombies. And another big detail, which I mentioned at the beginning, is that the zombies were just stood dormant, and then suddenly when the lights were exposed, it attracted the zombies straight towards the bus. And this is a characteristic that the zombie AI specifically had on Transit in Black Ops 2. Remember, all the way back in the spawn room, there'd be some zombies waiting within the spawn room itself, and only when you went up to them or ran near them did they get awoken. So that's a really interesting parallel to make there. But as the vehicle makes its way towards the end of the clip, we can see that clearly it's 2 illuminated lights. It's not 1, it's definitely 2. And of course, they're in the position of what we'd assume would be the headlights of a bus, which could be the transit bus itself. But I do want to point out a very interesting rumor that occurred about 2 months ago from a supposed feedback session group, which details were leaked over on Reddit, where they mentioned that within the zombies map itself, there would be something called a wander vehicle. Specifically, that was the wording for it. So there is a chance that what we're seeing here might not actually be the transit bus, but it could be what is described as a wander vehicle, which is something which is perhaps unearthly. Maybe not even an AI robot is driving, but it's something that we, the player, could drive to actually navigate around this very large map. From the rumors saying it's a very big open map, and is apparently the biggest round-based zombies map we have ever seen. And seeing as we had Terminus as a really big map, that is really saying something. And as we saw on that map with water and boats, there's a chance that this could be a vehicle that we, the players, could actually be operating, similar to what we saw in Modern Warfare Zombies as well with the Blood Burner bike. You could consider that a wander vehicle as well. Judging by the fact it has a name, wander vehicle, this seems to have a big potential focus on the actual main core gameplay features of the map itself, which again leans more into it potentially being the transit bus, because that was a core fundamental part of the map's experience. Main final details really is just trying to pinpoint the specific zombie models themselves. There's only 2 that seem to really have eyes that we can see. The one on the left, its eyes remain for quite a while. The one on the right, as soon as it turns its head, it's gone. But that seems to have a lot of like hanging flesh off of its body as it makes its way forwards and the camera moves around all of the zombies. I think there's no denying that this is 99% a Transit Reimagining remake that we are seeing here. We've heard rumors for a very long time that this game was going to feature a Transit remake, and it seems like all the pieces are finally being put together where that could actually be a reality. But comparing where we believe the trailer to be in comparison to the original Transit, you can see that things are slightly different, which is why it'd likely be more of a remake rather than a complete remaster. But I'd love to know your thoughts about this in the comments below. There's also another super interesting detail right at the end of the trailer where we get these few frames of gameplay from different parts of the game where we see prison cells, and that could be a reference to Mob of the Dead. But the fact that we've had a reimagining of that map already in Black Ops 4, I don't know if we would see it again, but because we are going to be purely in the Dark Ether in this game, that got sent to the Dark Ether at the end of Black Ops 4. Like, we saw specifically Alcatraz get sent there. So there's every chance that that could also be inside of Zombies, and that could be a hint that we were seeing here. And of course, we can't talk about Black Ops 7 Zombies without talking the most obvious leak / rumor there has been for the longest time, where all the way back in October of 2024, we got the leak that the original 4 characters are going to be returning in Black Ops 7 Zombies. Now, everything that has been leaked so far has seemingly been pretty accurate. Everything about the time setting, the characters, the basic storyline of the campaign has seemed to all be true. And those rumors also said that the main Zombies map would be transit inspired with some form of travel system to navigate around the map. They specifically mentioned that the version of the characters that we would see in the game would be a older version of Primus. So they wouldn't be Ultimus, but they wouldn't be Primus either. They would be some form of in the middle where they would be older. Apparently, the story tied to how they are going to be here and what the storyline is that there is a new enemy character who wants to absorb the Dark Ether essence of the original 4 characters and somehow bring back the old multiverse. If any of that is remotely true, then that is going to be absolutely biblical. It might sound crazy to have spoken so much about literally seconds of footage, but you know the Zombies community, we're going to break down every single frame possible. I don't know how on earth we're going to wrap up the Black Ops 6 zombie story that's going to take us to transit in the Dark Ether, but I cannot wait for more. This is just insane. Now, this is by no means least the last Black Ops 7 Zombies video that I'm going to be making. So if you guys want to make sure you stay up to date with the absolute latest on Black Ops 7, then be sure to smash that subscribe button down below with the bell so you never miss a single upload. YouTube reckons you will love this Black Ops 7 video that's on your screen right now, going into even more detail about the game in general. So click that and I'll be with you in just a moment.